What's up, everybody? What's going on? Monday, April 19th, the new edition, or the new issue of MMT Trader is out. If you want to get that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial. Well, I hate to do this to you, but I gotta critique another dumb blog post on Zerohedge. And the only reason I'm doing this is because, you know, they're taking another ridiculous swipe at MMT when they absolutely don't have a clue as to what they are talking about. Now, they did a post today showing how, first they say, well, these MMT crackpots, they're calling them MMT crackpots, like that blog is not loaded with crackpots and crackpot ideas. Anyway, MMT crackpots and their theories say that loans create deposits. But look at what has been happening. They show a graph with two lines. One is deposits going straight up through the roof, and the other one, loans relatively flat. Like, we know this, that loan growth has been flat or even contracting, you know. And there's a reason for that I've explained, is that the stimulus checks, people are paying down their debt. But let's clarify something here, and it's something I'm going to tell you, which I think a lot of you already understand. So I apologize if I'm, you know, just giving you information that you are already familiar with. Yes, MMT does say that loans create deposits, and that is true. When a bank makes a loan, a deposit is created. However, and it could very well be, and it is, that loan growth has been flat to declining, where deposits have been going up very sharply. But there's also something else that creates deposits, and that's government spending. We all got stimulus checks. I mean, a lot of people did anyway. Millions of people got stimulus checks. The government's been spending on health care. It's been spending on tax refunds, all kinds of things. Trillions and trillions of dollars since the COVID epidemic broke out last March. That adds to they just completely ignore this. That is how stupid this blog is. Trillions upon trillions in deposits. I mean, we all got checks, or most people got checks. What do you do when you get the check? You deposit the check, and that adds to deposits. So yeah, loans create deposits, but so does government spending. And so this is like, I mean, I've seen some attacks on MMT before. I mean, we had that one last month. I made the video on it. That guy, Jim Ricards, who called MMT, or he equated MMT with communism, which is, you know, completely absurd. Completely absurd. That's like saying that would be like saying it's because of physics that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid. I mean, you can't even put the two things together. You can't conflate the two things. It's ridiculous. So they leave it out. Government spending adds to deposits, all else equal. And sometimes they drain deposits with the sale of treasuries. Remember, treasuries are a reserve drain. It's not borrowing. You cannot drain something until you first put it in there, right? The swimming pool analogy. You cannot drain a swimming pool. You got to first fill it up. The government spends. That goes to deposits. You know, it spends in all areas. I mean, people get Social Security checks. It spends in Medicare and Medicaid. It spends in pays defense vendors. I mean, everything, every little line item of expenditure. And then it sells government securities, which acts as a reserve drain. And that, in tandem with what the Fed does, maintains the policy rate. All right. Otherwise, there would be pressure on rates to go down at all times because the banking system would get so loaded up with reserves. Banks would look to lend those out, and there would be pressure on the rate to go down to zero, maybe even negative. I mean, we see this in Europe. We see this in Japan. And we have also seen this recently here in the United States, where there has been a tendency. When was this happening? Like back in March or February, I forget. But the overnight rate started to trend, or the repo rate started to print negative, for a while. And everybody was getting all crazy about that. I said the Fed would handle that, and they did. But so, yeah, you really, if you go to that blog, and I've said this in the past, I will give them credit for one thing. They tend to scoop a lot of the mainstream media on important stories. I mean, and they do a fairly in-depth write-up of things when they happen. But when it comes to economics, when it comes to the markets, look, I've always said they're a fantastic contrarian indicator. I mean, I could just think now and go back. I could go back and think about the times like, when was it? Early last year with the inverted yield curve, and that was supposed to be a disaster. How many times during the Trump trade war that we saw the headlines on Zerohedge, and every time if you would have just gone opposite to that, bought the market when there was a panic sell-off because of the articles in that place. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So, but this was, this bugged me. I have to be honest with you. Because MMT gets a lot of criticism from real stupid people or those who are extreme ideologically, in one corner. Like the Austrian economics people, or a lot of these mainstream economics from, guys like Larry Summers and the Harvard group. But I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is stupid. The government has been spending trillions of dollars since it always does, really, but the increase has been enormous since the pandemic. That has added to deposits. You get your check, you go to the bank, you deposit it. It's very simple. Yes, loans create deposits, and MMT is correct with that, but government spending also creates deposits. So even if lending is flat, if you're in an environment like we are right now, where the government is spending an enormous amount of money in response to the COVID situation, you're going to see deposits go up. That's the explanation for that. It's not, some crackpot theory of MMT. MMT perfectly explains that as well. It's just that Zerohedge didn't bother to even think about it. Very easy. Anyway, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.